What's going on, everybody? It is wildcard's done. Divisional round is here. It's time for more playoffs. TPA is back in full form. Gianni, Sully, and Marino all
Yes,
back
sir.
in full form after a couple weeks. But we're here. Had a great wildcard round. There's a couple. There are a couple blowouts, but and a couple surprises. But this is a overall great wild card round, guys. What do you think?
No question. There is obviously a couple upsets, a couple comebacks, or a comeback. Very, very great week for the NFL for sure.
Yeah, no boring games.
And offseason wise, for the teams that didn't make playoffs, a couple moves around the league, couple firings, couple mutual agreements. Ravens offensive coordinator, I'm forgetting his name right now. Help me out.
Is it
I just had it.
Greg?
What's his name? Greg Roman. That's what it is.
Greg Roman.
Greg
So
Roman.
Greg Roman. A lot of people say it was firing, but it was more of a mutual agreement that he wanted to seek other opportunities. But still, that offense in general was pretty fucking boring to watch this year. So I feel like that's going to be a big win for the Ravens, whoever they end up getting. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the playoff wildcard round. You got something, so.
Byron Leftwich, the Bucks OC, he was out. He's outed. I think that's a bit of a Tom Brady, kind of getting a peek in on what the Bucks situation is there. I think Tom Brady's either out or he's done, in my opinion. And then Joe Lombardi for the Chargers. Like Mike Ehrmantraut says in Breaking Bad, no half measures, Walter. And the Chargers took a half measure and they fired the OC instead of the head coach. But besides that, playoffs.
That's how I feel about the Bucks moves. They should have fired head coach. He's terrible. But I don't know. It's my opinion. But let's move on. Let's move into the wild card. Let's start with first game. 49ers demolishing the Seahawks 41-23. This was a neck and neck game in halftime. Seahawks had the lead, but fourth quarter especially, 49ers took over. Brock Purdy continues to prove people wrong. Mr. Irrelevant getting it done. 18 for 30, 332 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Christian McCaffrey making his presence felt. 15 carries, 119 yards. Deebo Samuel, playoff Deebo is back. 133 receiving yards, had a touchdown, and then 32 rushing yards. One of the best dual threats in the league. This 49ers team is scary. Getting it done pretty easily in the second half. Seahawks, great effort. Definitely, like I said last week, Seahawks, you didn't know they were going to get this far. But Geno Smith especially proved a lot of people wrong. Great season. Looks like he's coming back next year, whether that's as a starting role or they dropped a young QB and he mentors him up. Whatever that looks like. But great effort from the Seahawks. Just want to shout out DK Metcalf, who had a hell of a game. 10 receptions, 136 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. But great effort by the Seahawks, but 49ers are just hot.
Yeah, huge season for the Seahawks. Obviously, they exceeded everyone's expectations. Like we said last week, Kenneth Walker was doing his best this game. He had 15 attempts, but they couldn't get too much going on the ground. DK had that huge game through the air. But dear God, guys, this 49ers team is astounding how many weapons they have. A guy that doesn't get much talk, Elijah Mitchell, comes into the game, gets a couple receptions for big yards and then a touchdown, and then on the ground, nothing going too much. But it's just a guy that you didn't even realize they still had on the roster that comes back and still proves that he's got something left. But Debo, man, on the ground as well as in the air, absolutely unstoppable. Christian McCaffrey as well. This team, to me, has Super Bowl written all over it. And it's going to take either the Eagles pulling through and showing what they did in the regular season or some type of upset from the Cowboys or the Giants, because this team looks complete. That defense looks stout in the second half. A little shaky in the first half, but I still have faith that the 49ers are going to be doing big things for the rest of the postseason.
Yeah, like you guys said, the Seahawks just an amazing season. I mean, nobody expected anything. They expected Geno or Drew Lock to just be trash cans. They'd have 2 top 5 picks this year, and they'd really just be moving on from there, and that the rebuild would start next year. But Geno really proved himself. He really earned himself a job in Seattle. They're going to keep him, maybe as a bridge player, but let alone who would have thought Geno would be a starting quarterback, let alone for multiple years for a team. So just amazing shout out to him. He proved a lot of people wrong. But I mean, the expectation was steamroll here. I mean, the 49ers just they could have anybody at quarterback. I mean, not to say that Brock Purdy isn't playing his mind, but like that team is just so stacked, and they have so many weapons that they could just sign anybody from a random practice squad, and they would probably win any game. But the thing about next week that scares me about the 49ers is the Cowboys is the best defense that Brock Purdy's faced since he started. No, without a doubt. And I just want to see how he deals with that pressure. It's going to be a good game, and I think the Cowboys will. This will probably be a war next week.
Yeah, definitely possible game of the week. But yeah, too hot. I mean, I don't say Cowboys are hot, but Cowboys had a great performance. We'll talk about that later. But that's going to be a good matchup. A lot of good matchups coming up this week. But next game in the wild card, Chargers and Jaguars. Chargers have that 27-0 lead, and then oh my God, the Jaguars won 31-30. What happened? James Rose. No, great performance by the Jaguars. What happened? Chargers 27 points just to put up 3 more points, and then this was embarrassing for the Chargers. So that's just a Debbie Downer. But Jaguars definitely great comeback, once in a lifetime. Trevor Lawrence, had pretty rough game for the most part, but came up in the end. 28 for 47, 288 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and then 4 picks. ETN had 109 rushing yards, and then just great performance overall for the Jaguars. Besides the first half, of course, but great dominant comeback. Just for the Chargers side, it's just so disappointing. How they could fall apart so fast. Like Austin Eckler said, in his 21 years of playing football, this never hurt so bad. It's just he's never felt like this before, and just hearing that coming from that side of the ball, that side of the game is sad. Chargers should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And what the what's the word? What the mindset is going into next season is just it's a lot of questions going into this offseason.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Gianni. There's so many questions with this team. A big thing I would like to highlight is the yards for Austin Eckler. A lot of us can agree that Austin Eckler is a very, very talented back. He has skills and he has the explosiveness to really set him aside from some of the other running backs in the league. But to only get 35 yards in a game, obviously, I know the Jaguars have a really stout defense that's peaking at the right time, but continuing to throw it in the second half, I know that Justin Herbert had a fairly good game, maybe not the touchdowns that you would like to see, but it just doesn't make sense why Austin Eckler wasn't seeing the ball more in the second half. Uh, on the Jaguars side, though, Trevor Lawrence completely flipping the script in the second half from throwing 4 interceptions to throwing 4 touchdowns. It's really what we expected from him coming out of the draft. Obviously, he was touted as a generational guy. He's a winner. He's a winner. So I expected this culture change to come with the Jaguars. It's really nice to finally see it under Doug Peterson, who is a great coach. Let's give him his flowers. Travis Etienne, his teammate from Clemson, coming through within 100-yard game in the playoffs. It's it's great to see, and I'm excited for this Jaguars team, regardless of the result this upcoming weekend up against the Chiefs, obviously. But I mean, these guys can fly around. A guy that they didn't even really expect to be that great with them, Fulo. They just have a great defense. I'm just impressed by them a lot.
I think it's for Lulakun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna shout him out too. Actually, he was all over the field. Yeah, for Lulakun. He was all over the field just that game, and he was a big reason why the Jaguars were able to come back. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had a really shaky start. I mean, he started off looking like Blaine Gabbert, but the second half he turned into Joe Montana. I mean, I don't know what happened. He's got it. He's a winner, and that's what they drafted him for. He was for sure that number one prospect for a reason. Uh, he may not have the weapons that a lot of these teams have, and that's what kind of like puts me off of them having a run. Like, I don't know if Christian Kirk is as the main guy. Really, I mean, next year I really like them for like Calvin Ridley, but they also have everything to play for right now. So I'm definitely not one to bet against them. Chargers, they really let this one go, but on the other hand, they didn't really have really good offense throughout the whole game. Their defense is what got them their points in the whole beginning. They had 4 interceptions in the first half and made it easy for the offense. But I mean, when it came down to it, Justin Herbert couldn't secure one more touchdown and secure the game. So I don't know what that says about him or the coaching but just anything. But I mean, some people have that clutch gene, and Trevor Lawrence has that clutch gene. I don't know if Justin Herbert has it, and he really hasn't shown it for like throughout his whole career so far. So, I mean, it's on the Chargers to figure it out.
Next up, Bills beat the Dolphins 34-31. A lot closer than you would without Tua. Skylar Thompson taking the ball. This was a back and forth. This was a thriller. This was a good game. But Bills obviously the better team all around. But great effort from the Dolphins. Good divisional matchup, but you knew in the end it was going to be the Bills taking this game. Josh Allen, 352 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. And then, Diggs and Davis, doing their thing. Especially Gabe Davis. Playoff Gabe Davis is back. 6 receptions, 113 yards and a touchdown. And then Cole Beasley making his impact as well. Definitely great win by the Bills. Too close for comfort, but in the end, both sides of the ball, this was a great performance from the Bills, especially defensively on the running side, just swallowing Jeffrey Wilson whole. Keep that going. It was just going to be beating a dead horse. You couldn't get him going at all. But all around, great performance from the Bills, just too close for comfort. But Bills look good.
Yeah, definitely agree with the too close for comfort thing. This is a divisional opponent, so obviously they're going to play the Bills tough. The Dolphins have a great defense. They have guys on that defense that can make plays. Obviously, we've seen a couple of interceptions out of Josh Allen. I just wish that Josh Allen would, um, you know, maybe not go for the deep ball every time. I love the aggressiveness usually, but sometimes he's keeping teams in games, and he's just got to rely on his playmakers. Um, Obviously, his playmakers came through for him today, though. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, too. Obviously, not his best day, but he has shown that he can be a reliable target for Josh. And then the James Cook train still riding high. Got a touchdown. He got more attempts too than Devin Singletary, which is good for me in my opinion, or good for him in my opinion. But Skylar Thompson really tried to go out there and do some things. He's a raw guy. He's out of Kansas State, kind of a smaller college. I didn't have big expectations for him, but it was nice to see that they made the game close, obviously. Uh, Tyreek couldn't really do much. They were kind of swallowing him whole. And then a Mike Gesicki sighting. He's on the MIA list as of recently. He finally got a touchdown and hit his ugly gritty. Thank God. But overall, I still really like the Bills heading into this postseason.
Yeah, I mean, when me and the boys were talking about this game before, I mean, I said that it would be close. The only reason I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins won, but only if they have Tua, and they did not have Tua. But this kind of shows me if they did have Tua, there's a chance,
Mm.
But to me, the ultimate difference is the Dolphins could not get their running game going at all. And you just can't have your full offense be running through this rookie that, I mean, shouldn't be out there in a playoff game, if we're going to be honest.
First,
It's just, I mean, they tried. They handed the ball off over 20 times. It's just nobody could break anything. And, I mean, it's a tough front to play against, but it's definitely not the best in the league. So, I mean, you just need that. But the Dolphins defense is really what kept them in this game. Uh, yeah, like Sully was saying, the big time balls that Josh Allen was throwing, is kind of what was keeping them in this game. But yeah, overall, Dolphins. I'm a little worried about Tua just longevity with all the concussions this year, but if everything checks out with him, I still think they have a bright future. Dolphins just know how to play the Bills. I think I'm not too shook from the Bills, but I know Bills and Bengals are going to be a really good game.
Dolphins starting quarterback next year. Let's hear it.
If it's not Tua, I think it should still be Tua, even though the concussions. I hope everything checks out with that.
It's no way it's not gonna be Tua. I mean, they just need to fix that fucking line. It's just horrendous.
Lamar Jackson. Moving on.
Man.
Jacoby Brissett.
All right, let's move on to Giants beating the Vikings 31-24. Man, Vikings really were frauds, weren't they?
Bliss. Utter bliss.
We've been saying it all season.
I I've been full blown riding the Vikings train.
Well, I've been saying it all season.
I know you guys have been, but this one was surprising to me. And I've been saying Giants are frauds all season, but holy shit, Daniel Jones came to play. 24, 35, 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Had 17 carries on the ball and 78 rushing yards there. What happened to the Vikings, man? They just fell apart this game, didn't they? I mean, Kirk didn't have a bad performance. It's just defensively they fell apart. So offensively it wasn't terrible. I mean, yeah, Kirk Cousins, 273 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and TJ Hawkinson, 10 receptions, 129 yards. Dalvin Cook didn't do too bad either. Defensively, I think, is where they fell apart. Just Daniel Jones looked really comfortable, and that's something we haven't seen yet. That's something I haven't seen yet. And looking as comfortable as he did here, it's they're gonna be kind of like underdogs. Like they're gonna be underdogs, and I would not be surprised if they win next week. To be honest with you, the way they looked in this game, you never know. But Vikings are frauds. Seals the deal. Giants won. Holy shit.
You have to give credit to Daniel Jones. Obviously, like Gianni pointed out, him in the scrambling running game, he showed on a national audience what he's really all about. His medium to short throwing was accurate as hell. We know that his receivers are young, and he's kind of making the best with what he has. Isaiah Hodges, pretty nice game from him there. Darius Slayton had a drop late, but he had a pretty good game too. It's really impressive to see Daniel Jones become a better thrower before our eyes through pressure. On the Vikings side, though, the good old 17-7. In the regular season, the Vikings would be down 17-7 and think, okay, there's always a second half. We'll be fine. We got this. But the Giants didn't let off the gas pedal. Keeping up with Saquon getting touches, I really like seeing Saquon in the pass game as well, getting 5 catches for 56 yards, couple touchdowns on the ground. This is how the Giants are going to win. Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau on that D-line, those guys are going to be changing that franchise for the better for the future. Those draft picks are looking really good right now. But in terms of competing with the Eagles, I say whatever happens, you go off and look at this season as a positive. It's really crazy that Daniel Jones didn't get his 5th-year option picked up, and now he's doing this.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Was Daniel Jones' 5th-year option? I mean, he saved his job. He probably going to get a pretty nice payday after this season. It's not going to be top 5 or even top 10 caliber, but I mean, 20 million is probably coming his way at least. I mean,
At least.
it's not worth taking the risk on somebody in the free agency or starting over and trying to get a new quarterback and trying to coach another one. Daniel Jones is getting better every year. I think this is if they don't, I feel like they will play the Eagles really good, but I don't really expect them to win. I'm sure not a lot of people do. Uh, but I mean, next year is the year I feel like to really look forward to. I mean, they did a lot this year. They had a lot of wins to start the year. That's kind of what carried them into the playoffs. Well, yeah, I mean, as long as they get Daniel Jones some more weapons next year, I feel like they're gonna pay Saquon because a lot of I feel like they're gonna keep and pay him because a lot of questions are gonna be going on with that. Uh, just because he was the best guy on a bad team, but I feel like the Giants have the brightest future they've had since 2000 or since they won a Super Bowl. So, I mean, I give it to them. They played this fraudulent team that's going to have a lot to worry about this offseason.
Shout out Brian Daboll.
Yeah, not on the coach. Yeah, definitely. I was thinking Kevin O'Connell. Sorry. But yeah, no, Brian Daboll's a dog coach, and he really knows how to bring the dog out of him.
Another too close for comfort game. Bengals beat the Ravens 24-17. Another expected win, but another too close for comfort as well. Another divisional matchup, but Bengals won 24-17. What would have happened if Hubbard never took that 98-yard ball down the field and Ravens scored? You never know. But and then if Lamar Jackson was playing, what do you think the outcome would have been? Again, Ravens put up a good fight, nonetheless. But Joe Burrow didn't play terrible. 209 yards, had a touchdown. Wanted to see more of Joe Mixon, but that Ravens defense played solid. Both sides of the defense played solid, but I think Ravens had a great performance on defense. But Bengals are just a better team. I don't have much on this game, but just this was a good defensive battle. But Bengals, of course, are the better team, and they're moving on.
Yeah, big shout out to Tyler Huntley, man. He went out there and tried to ball. Tough to see Lamar not be able to get out there and play, but things are really shaky with him right now. I am really you really got to keep an eye on what happens in Baltimore this offseason. Obviously, Greg Roman getting fired already. There's a little scent to the trail of some stink that might be happening in this organization. Overall, I think you got to be really happy with this team. Roquan Smith tried to go out there and make some plays. Their young guys were trying to help out too. Kyle Hamilton looked good in this game. And then JPP still doing it, getting out there and making Joe Burrow move in the pocket. It was crazy to see this Ravens defense give the Bengals so much fits. Obviously, the Bengals offensive line is eternally discombobulated, but they really were pushing this offense to the limits. Joe Mixon, 11 attempts for 39 yards. You'd like to see a bit more out of him. But this defense, like I said, giving the Bengals issues. So good win by the Bengals pulling it out. But wow, if Prochet could have grabbed that ball at the end from that Hail Mary, jeez Louise.
Yeah, it just felt like everything went wrong for the Ravens this game. I mean, they tried to fight, but it's just when there's just a winner at the head of your team, and just luck has just went your way as much as the Bengals. It's gonna just go their way.
Home game
I
too.
mean, big shout out to their defense. Big shout out to Kyle Hamilton. He had a huge game. He was all over the field. He had a forced fumble. Just I mean, also big shout out to Odafe Owe. He had a big sack too. Just these young guys that makes this defense just this dog mentality, and it just feels like it's not going to get any worse over this next offseason. My thoughts on Lamar, I think he's going to stay. I was on the fence about it for a while. I thought he may be going, but recently I seen Harbaugh come out talking about it. He was saying Lamar is our quarterback, and that's a fact. They built everything around him. He's going to be involved a lot this offseason. They were saying probably on finding an offensive coordinator that helps fit his scheme. Greg Roman just didn't fit anymore. It's sad, but that's just how this league works. It evolves, and some systems just get outdated faster than you may want it to. Bengals, I mean, the Ravens play them tough. They always do. So, I mean, this wasn't a pretty win. And they're going against a team next week that didn't have a pretty win either. So, I mean, I expect a shootout next week, but I'm not faltered by the Bengals' performance on this at all. I'm still high on them.
Hey, Super Bowl pick. Come on, baby.
Takes like yeah. Yeah. In the end, it was a good performance by the Bengals. Let's move on to the Cowboys beating the Buccaneers. This was a shocker to many, but the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers 31-14. Tom Brady's out of the playoffs. Surprising. Cowboys get a playoff win. But Dak Prescott having one of the games of his career. 305 passing yards, total of 5 touchdowns, 4 in the air, 1 on the ground. And then Tony Pollard, 77 rushing yards. Dalton Schultz was a great performer here, two touchdowns for him. Cowboys are just dominant on offense. They couldn't get the running game going for shit. Playoff Lenny, where he was MIA this game. He had 5 carries and 11 yards. But when Tom Brady has to throw the ball 66 times in a losing effort, I can't tell you what's going on there. Buccaneers are out of playoffs. This was a rough year for the most part for the Buccaneers. And I got you just got to think that Tom Brady got to be done after this year. Just a frustrating year. Similar to the Packers situation, right? Shaky year, and then just like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers having this just giving their all just for nothing, Just it's just Tom Brady the way this game went. You got to think he's not going to come back. You never know what he's 45. He wants to play till he's 50. But anyways, Cowboys shocker to most, but dominant win here, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I disagree with it being a shocker to most. I kind of seen Marino too. I seen this one coming from a mile away. The Buccaneers defense pretty depleted. Obviously, Levante David was still in there. Devin White trying to make plays, but the overall talent of the Cowboys roster is just not even close when you look at it compared to the Buccaneers. Obviously, the Buccaneers, they have Tom Brady, they have this upside. They've been there before winning the Super Bowl. But we've seen all season that this team has just not been the same. They don't have the same guys out there. And obviously, from Byron getting fired, they're going to have to take a hard look at what's going on next season. In terms of the Cowboys, though, Dak was slinging it, man. He had some throws. The Michael Gallup touchdown in the left corner of the end zone. that was a ball. And we've seen Dak hit his stride and get hot, and that can really change this outlook of the whole Cowboys offense. CD looked pretty good in this game too. It was just a domination, if I'm going to be honest. Uh, the Buccaneers didn't score in the first half, but the big story of this game, Brett Maher missing all the extra points. Obviously, a lot of talk about that, but overall, it really didn't affect the game that much. It was just kind of like, what is going on? How does he keep missing these kicks? I haven't I haven't personally heard any information about him getting cut or anything like that. I think they're just gonna let it blow over. But
Yeah, I just think it's bad luck because I think he's had a tremendous season for the most part, and I just think this is just I don't know. It's unheard of with him. I think he had a good year, and then that happens. I don't know.
it's like a pitcher just losing it, or like a shooter just in a slump. He was just like an all-time slump. Oh my God.
Yeah, because I don't even think the field conditions were bad on that day. I mean, they're just unheard of. But it was a murder of Tom Brady. I mean, the Buccaneers, in hindsight, shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. I mean, they had a very shaky year. Uh, they just got wrong and had a really terrible division. So, I mean, give them credit to even making it here, to be honest. But I mean, the Cowboys have everything to prove. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty high on the Cowboys after this. They were all over the ball. They deflected it over. I think it was 12 times of those 60 passes were all deflected. I mean, they couldn't get anything going. Yeah, I think Tom Brady, if he's not retiring, he's definitely not in the Buccaneers next year. Uh, I hope they enjoyed their saga with him. It's not going to be one that's remembered. It's just going to be remembered for him getting his ring. But yeah, the Cowboys got the 49ers next week. It's going to be a tough game, but I mean, I think that defense is going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I hope Buccaneers enjoy Tom Brady because it's Kyle Trask time, baby. 2023, the takeover
Ooh.
begins.
Jordan Love sounds a lot better after you say Kyle Trask. God.
For real.
Oh boy! All right, let's move on to divisional round. We have four great matches here. Sunday's slate definitely has like I'm getting chills thinking about these games. Like Bengals Bills, Cowboys 49ers, that can be a shootout. But let's start with Saturday's games. You got the Jaguars versus the Chiefs. Man, I just don't think Chiefs can lose this at home, especially the way they've been playing lately. I feel like Jags will give them a game, but I don't think there's any way the Chiefs lose this game here. Yeah, the Chiefs.
I don't think the Chiefs match up very well with this Jaguars defense. I think the Jaguars defense has a lot of speed coming off the D line. I don't really love that for Kansas City, but I have full faith in Andy Reid on the offensive end that he's going to keep pace and keep keep the offense on schedule and keep them making plays. The Chiefs are favored by 8.5. I could see Jacksonville covering that. I could see it being a 7-point game. I just don't see them losing. So I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous to face a team when they have nothing to play for, and they're hot. You know, just a lot has went right for the Jags this year. I'd love to see the Jags win this. I really would, but I think it's in the NFL script that Bengals and Chiefs face in the AFC Championship. But I'm leaking mine early. But yeah, I got them. Yeah, the
Wow.
Chiefs.
Man.
I hear that right?
Then we got
Okay.
the Giants and the Eagles. I got the Giants. Let's do it.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And, you know, like it's
I
not
100% have the
it's
Giants
not
covering.
it's not like it's not just because how they played last week. It's more of the Eagles' downfall. Eagles kind of fell apart. I know Jalen Hurts had his injury, but as a team, as a whole, and the team, just kind of they're not as hot as they were, right? But with especially the confidence Giants are going to go into this week with, I know it's at Eagles, but I think Giants can bring that confidence in and overwhelm the Eagles to the point where they beat them by 3. I get the Giants. Let's do this.
It's a really big spot, right? Divisional matchup, divisional round. Uh, this Giants team is hot. I'll give them that. They also played against a defense that I believe we've described as Swiss cheese before. And the Minnesota rush is not as threatening as some would think with the names on that D line. Uh, they just aren't as effective. The Giants' offensive line held up really well. I really like Evan Neal. But in terms of playing the Eagles, I just think that the Eagles, kind of like how we were just talking about the Cowboys just being more talented straight up, I think that the Eagles are more talented in almost not I wouldn't say almost every facet, but in the majority of facets of the game, D line, offensive line, secondary, wide receivers, quarterback, I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, with these divisional games, it's really hard to. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a close game. I'd take the Giants spread on this, but I mean, Tully's right. It's just the power of the Eagles. It's just whatever they hit, the Giants have, the Eagles have 2 times the talent. I just don't see the Giants getting it done. It was really impressive what they did this year, and they should be really proud of what they did. But fly Eagles fly.
What the Giants do well, the Eagles just do better, if that makes sense.
See,
Facts.
and me picking the Giants here, like we all know Eagles are the better team, right? They've had the better season. Um, they match up way better than the Giants do, right? But Giants, for me, Giant, and it's a divisional game, right? And Giants are just that. It's me picking an upset pick, but it's a possible upset pick. It's possible. So we'll see, but totally not surprised if Eagles completely shut down this team. We'll see. But move to Sunday's games. My personal game of the week here. Pretty much probably going to be everybody's too. Bengals at the Bills. It's going to be cold as shit. Bills are going to come to play. Damar Hamlin's going to be probably Damar Hamlin's going to be there. Especially if Damar Hamlin leads the, Bills make their entrance and Damar Hamlin leads the charge. Bills are taking this game. I'm not going to say by a lot, but I'm not going to be surprised. The Bills are going to take this game. They're still my Super Bowl favorites. And they'll show it here.
The spread's 5.5. I don't see how this game is not won on a game-winning field goal or that close. This is going to be a football game, man. A football game, possibly. I'm not trying to overhype it, but it might be the best game you ever see if you watch this game, regardless if you're longtime football fans or not. It's given me Chiefs Bills vibes from a couple years ago or last year. But I personally, I think yes, the Bills are going to come in with all that energy from Damar Hamlin. And yes, I did pick the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, but I'm going Bills here. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
I think I already leaked mine. But I think now it's time for fair explanation. I think the defense of the Bills matches up a lot worse than what the Ravens did last week to the Bengals. I still think it's going to be a close game. That's why I'm definitely going to take the Bengals spread, and I'm also going to take over points on this. I think it's like 52.5 points.
48.5.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah, hammer.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think just the Bengals. A lot of people say it's a fluke of what they did. I think they've already proved it's not a fluke, but I like the idea of just them running back to the Super Bowl and getting it done this time. So I got the Bengals.
Not giving up on the Bengals, man. All right. And then the last game, we got Cowboys visiting the 49ers. I'm not going to question it. 49ers are NFC favorites. Mine at least. 49ers both sides of the ball. Best in the league. I had the 49ers really easily.
I don't know about really easily. This is a big spot, like I said before, but the 49ers have too much talent, too many weapons, and they have Purdy magic. I got to take the 49ers.
Now I gotta feel stupid because I'm fading you guys again, but I gotta go to Cowboys.
Woo!
I just
Okay.
like how I was saying about the defense. I just think it's pressure that Brock has never seen before. I mean, he's only seen it at practice, but I mean, Micah Parsons. He's my defensive player of the year candidate. I think he's better than Nick Bosa, and I think he's a lot scarier coming at you, a lot faster, and closes in on you a lot quicker. I'm I'm gonna go with the Cowboys on this one.
Wow. I really, really am so excited to see this game. I can't believe that how the matchups turned out. Like the
Yeah, it's all
49ers,
good.
this is so exciting to watch. And I'm glad that the Jaguars won. I don't want to see Chargers versus Chiefs. I already know what's going to happen in that game.
Yeah, give me a young, hungry team that has something to prove.
Yeah, we see that 2 times a year already.
For real, I was 2 murders this year.
Yeah, come on.
You know, Marina, I might have to hit you up about a bet on that Cowboys and 49ers game because me personally, I see there's no way the 49ers don't take it. I
feel like you're really undervaluing how much the Cowboys steamrolled the Buccaneers last week.
It wasn't. Oh my god! It was
the best thing about the Buccaneers team is their defense. I mean, it's not what it was last year or the year before that, but I mean that defensive front is still scary.
You said the best thing was their defense?
I mean,
It's Tom
not
Brady.
definitely not their secondary.
Only
but
Tom
their
Brady.
front seven.
Hmm.
Vita Vea is a dog. I
They
like
were
Logan Hall.
8-9. 8-9.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying to put up 31 and look as impressive as they did against the Buccaneers, who a lot of people were picking the Buccaneers to beat them, and Dak Prescott looked a lot improved, more improved than he's looked even this regular season. I feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people talk down on Dak. A lot of people say he's not a top 10 quarterback. I mean, I don't even think so, but he's got a lot to prove. And I mean, I just feel like the team is built around Dak more than it is for Purdy. And the one thing that scares me about the 49ers is Purdy. If they had Garoppolo at quarterback, I'd pick 49ers all day. But it's just the rookie. It's got to stop at some point, the hype train. And I mean, the train that's going on. And they just are hoping it's at the Super Bowl, but I really don't think after the Super Bowl, but I really don't think so.
I would hope the Cowboys would beat an 8-9 team like this, but they did. They beat an 8-9 team.
Here's my look at Purdy. I think there's the Purdy hype train that's huge expectations. People compare him to Tom Brady and Kurt Warner all the time
I
without
hear
even
that all the
thinking about
time.
it. You can't. He is a rookie quarterback, 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. He's playing in one of the best offensive systems of all time. Kyle Shanahan is a beast. And he puts out good stats, but there also has to be, okay, I get what you're saying, Marino. There's a where rubber has to meet the road. You're either a legend and you go down in history winning a Super Bowl at your rookie year, or something's got to happen here.
It's not happening in this game. It's not happening in this game.
I think it could. I think it could. I think it all depends on the middle of the field. If the Cowboys can control mid to long passes.
I'm just saying, like, Brock Purdy ain't going down this game. Like, 49ers aren't going down this game. It's not happening. It's going to happen either next week in the championship or a Super Bowl. But they're going against the Cowboys, who have been, besides this last week, they've been pretty damn shit playing on offensive, of course. Like they've been playing like shit. They had a good game against an 8-9 team. Expected win on paper, right? Only reason people think they're going to win is Tom Brady. Tom Brady threw 66 passes and couldn't do shit, and they beat an 8-9 team. Cowboys can give them a game. I feel like 49ers are just all around defense, offense. They have this such a stacked roster, and if one person's not going to do it, the other person's going to do it. They have Debo, they have Christian McCaffrey, they have Ayuk. That offense is stacked. They have Greenlaw on defense, Bosa, Warner. They're stacked. They have this. There's no way they don't win this game.
We'll just have to see then, I guess.
That's a bettable game. I would. That's a bettable game. I'm just saying.
Confidence. I like it.
I bet with you, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this week. Anything you guys want to add before we go?
I am liking Marino picking against the Bills. I'm interested to see how that turns out.
What about me picking against the Eagles, right? Yeah.
I'm not too excited about that one, Jalen.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah. No, I don't got anything.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching, and those who do watch us every week. Please give us a like. Please give us a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share us with your friends. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us what any suggestions you guys have for us, and we'll listen. Especially going into our off season, come up with new ideas for next season. Always open to new ideas, especially from you guys. But and then last week we mentioned season awards. This week we're going to do it next week instead. Just due to lack of games, of course. So give us more time on the podcast. So without further ado, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Yeah.